Hello everyone and welcome back to the video. As you've seen by the thumbnail, today we have two different pairs of shoes. The first one was a suggestion that I got, that I kind of asked for, but also that I got. And the model wasn't was relatively simple to make. As you can see, I'm using the full body suit, which by now includes hands and feet as well, as a base for this model, and with a simple extrusion and so with the basic tools here, I worked on this. As you can see, there's a little bit of change. The underlying model, so basically everything I haven't selected, it doesn't show its the vertices and the faces and edges. This is because I basically chose not to show these in a setting which helps me work on my current model, because I only have one set of points and edges I see, and this just helps me a lot with working on my model. Main root of the video will actually be about the second pair, which took me a lot longer. So the first one took me about, let me lie, about 40 minutes, a bit more, about just under an hour, all in all. Then the second one took almost 1.5 hours, so there's, or I think even more, there's a lot of detail in this. I will also go into a bit more detail with the second one. There will be a few things that I have in real time, so most of the video is in 8 times the speed, or 16 times the speed, but some parts I have picked out to showcase in a bit more detail about this. As you can see, the first one was really quite simple in the end, and it was fun doing it, definitely, but I thought, okay, for a video I want to have a bit more content, so this is why I made two pairs. Basically both were in my to-do list, and I decided I'm going to do both and make a video about both of these pairs. Heels again, as usual, nothing new here. And this is the first one. As you can see, the bump map is quite the bump map. The material, the UV map is quite simple, but it's really effective, and you will see later how I actually make these rather good working UV maps. So basically the base form is just really the base form cut out of the full body suit and then thickened. This is the second pair of shoes, and these took quite a bit more time and detail. So I'm working with the full body suit again, as you can see, on Genesis 2. Same heel, so basically a prepared set of stiletto heels, or what I call stiletto heels. I started with mellowing out, or creating the base shape over the toes, more or less. No, actually, the heel, the black heel part is a simple copy paste. And as you can see, I'm usually, when I do this, or many parts when I thicken them, I give them an additional edge on the side, on the side that was thickened. So basically, on the So when I thicken them, they have a three-dimensionality to them, and I give them an additional edge that runs around the whole thing, which we need later because this is the edge I actually use for most of the UV mapping, which will be actually not at the end but in the middle of this, simply because I chose to already color this while working on the whole project. So here I had a picture which I was using as base to work with, and yeah, you can see here that I'm after thickening this, I grab the face, the face group that is the edge of this, and I use and I added line with the connect tool, which gives this an additional space. What I did here is I actually cut I cut out part of the foot, which wasn't my intention, and I didn't realize it, so at this point I had to repair the shoe basically. And here I'm copy pasting or cutting out and copy pasting another part, which is the edge of the foot, the leather edge, which will later become leather. And next I had to actually just make sure that there's no clipping, so currently I'm working on reducing the clipping. And we are coming actually on one of the first details that I want to show, the rings, the golden rings that hold the shoelace in place. So as you can see, I'm using the cylinder base form here, so it's and I'm setting this to a very simple cylinder that is almost one-sided. Flattening this, so I basically have a disc, or like a flat donut disc, and then the next step was to basically make the inside smaller, and actually I could have made them bigger in retrospect. So basically when I was like one quarter done, I thought, hey, I could have made these bigger, but I decided to stick with the size that I got. So I could have made them much bigger. Here I'm basically just forming the shape. You will see me grab the connect tool again for a second and just give them a bit more thickness to them. So here, this was the connect tool where I just added an additional line to give them a bit more donut-y shape. And I added another line here just to prepare the UV map for these. And this is me just copy pasting this. You will see this is currently the state. This is basically the real life time that I use to put every one of these in their place. We're actually skipping the rest of setting these, so basically the other side and all the way up to the top, because this is just way too much. Or at least we're not skipping it, but we're making it go by much faster. So this is basically really just copy pasting and then making sure that they don't that the amount of that they sit on the right space. So as you can see, I could have made them much bigger, so they would have actually taken up the leather space, but I decided to just keep it like this. So here I'm actually coloring the different pieces. I made the UV map for the rings when I made them, and here I'm going for the UV map of the other parts. And this is where the extra edge comes in. Basically, I'm cutting every piece in two sides, the inner side and the outer side, and these are the two pieces that I'm working with at the SUV map, because this is a very good way to have a UV map that works, that isn't too tangled up, especially if you have something that is thick, that you thicken. You can use this trick and this method to have a good and flat UV map on this without too much interjection and clipping. Yeah, same here. I'm using the edge I created around this to give this a very simple UV map. Yeah, this is a flat UV map. I'm not even going to the extra step and trying to make this fit nicely and make this even shapes, even rectangles, simply because I don't really need it. For one, it's gonna be a flat color, and for another reason, the rectangles here are in the relative size to each other as they are on the model, which helps me a lot. Yeah, this is again the same edge that I'm grabbing, so I can split this into two equally sized pieces, more or less. And while they're not perfectly the same size, that's fine. Yeah, I'm grabbing all of these parts and making them one material. So the leather edge, the heel, and the part above the toes basically share one material. So basically they have always the same color and always the same texture. So if I use leather, like in this case, they will all have a leathery structure to them. This was basically so that I don't have to click, since I planned to have them have the same color and stuff. Anyway, this just makes it easier for me to have the whole thing in place. Yeah, the leg, or the shoe and leg part, basically, as you can see, this is very even already, so this is really easy to use. Yeah, a very simple UV map, but I actually, yeah. And at this point, I also thought, do I want this to be more square? Do I want this to be more working out more, or am I happy with how it is? So I left it like it is. And then I used the line tool to make the boot laces, as you can see, and then I thickened them before I actually put them into place. On hindsight, maybe it is easier to put them into place with the as a line before you thicken them. It doesn't really make that much of a difference. Again, I'm showing you the how to do this, or how I do this in real time here. Yeah, so I'm basically grabbing the whole piece and shoving it in front of the ring, and then it's getting turned a bit. Actually, I'm going to show this a second here because it's a bit easier to see. Yeah, you can see that it is now in front of the ring on the same depth level. Then I'm turning the whole thing, and yeah, this is basically copied for. I'm doing the same thing for all the other pieces. So here we are at the end, and then I will use the connect tool to actually cut these things in the middle, and cut them again to make sure that there is no clipping with the actual leathery edge that I use. Yeah, this is the whole thing, and at this point we're basically at the end. The last part is just this strap with the clasp that I made, that is part of the model, so I wanted to make this. But yeah, this is the whole thing, and you have a few more insights into the details that I'm using here. Yeah, much of this is extrusion and is just copy pasting, so I left these parts out or shortened them as much as I felt comfortable with. What I actually forgot is to make the straps, to give these straps a... no, actually, no, these straps have a UV map and the clasps as well. Yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, stay healthy, stay safe, and see you guys around.